Welcome to Tarot's Landing. This is our place to explore tarot old and new, the classic archetypes, the strange little omens, and the ways the cards keep finding fresh language for what we're living through. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. Not every reading is for everyone. If something here speaks directly to you, welcome, stay close, take what's yours. And if you feel this message drifting away from you, that's perfectly okay. Let it pass like weather. We'll be here and we look forward to seeing you next time. As I settle in, I'm getting a very particular atmosphere. Quiet, clear, and a little bracing, like stepping outside after a long night and realizing you can finally see what's been there all along. There's a sense of truth surfacing without drama, timing that can't be forced, and the kind of forward motion that starts with one honest decision. Practical threads are in the air too. What you're building, what you're funding with your energy, what needs to move again. So take a breath, loosen your grip on the story, and let's see what the cards want to illuminate. Alright, so our first card in the row is Frost Lantern. And immediately, this feels like the card of seeing things exactly as they are. Not worse than they are, not better than they are, just true. There's a kind of emotional weather here that says you may have been moving through a long stretch of uncertainty, numbness, or just plain exhaustion, and now something is coming into focus. Not necessarily in a comforting way, but in a clean way. This card doesn't rush in to rescue. It doesn't promise instant warmth or easy relief. What it offers is clarity. It says, here is the path, here is the loss, here is the pattern, here is the fact. And strangely, that honesty is its own kind of mercy. For some of you, this is about recognizing what you can no longer pretend not to know. About a relationship, a work situation, your energy, your limits, or the emotional cost of carrying something too long. The message here is not fix everything. It's much simpler. Take the next honest step. There's also a strong boundary message in this card. When something is clearly seen, it can be named. And when it's named, it stops ruling from the shadows. So the question Frost Lantern places in your hands is, now that you can see, what will you do? Okay, and now our second card is Sunrise. And I have to say, paired with Frost Lantern, this feels very significant because Frost Lantern is that cold, honest seeing in the dark, and Sunrise is what happens when that truth begins to fully reveal itself. So for many of you, this is confirmation. Something you already sensed, something you already knew in your body or in your intuition is becoming undeniable now. This card has a very gentle but unstoppable energy. It doesn't feel chaotic. It feels like the moment where confusion starts separating into clear pieces. What was tangled becomes readable. What was hidden becomes visible. What was maybe starts becoming, yes, this is what's actually going on. And I really want to emphasize timing here. Sunrise says this is happening when it can actually be used. Not too early, not in a way that only overwhelms you, but at the point where you can do something with the truth. For some of you, this is a conversation. For some, it's a realization. For others, it's seeing the real shape of a relationship, a plan, or even your own needs. And again, the message is not drama, it's clarity. So where Frost Lantern asked, what will you do now that you can see? Sunrise adds, you are ready to see enough to move. Alright, and now we have Trillium in the third position. And this is beautiful because it shifts the reading from pure clarity into right timing. So if Frost Lantern said, see clearly, and Sunrise said, the truth is arriving, Trillium says, don't force what you now understand. Let it open in the season where it can actually live. This card feels very much like something real is here, but it may need gentleness, pacing, and maturity more than urgency. For some of you, this is absolutely about a relationship or emotional connection. There may be a desire to define it, secure it, speed it up, or get certainty right now. But Trillium says what is meant to last cannot be rushed without being damaged. For others, this is about a decision, a plan, a creative path, or even your own healing. Just because you can see the truth now doesn't mean you have to harvest the whole future today. You may only need to take the next aligned step and allow the rest to ripen. What I really love here is that this card does not say no. It says not by force. It says patience is not punishment. Waiting here is part of protection. So the message of Trillium is honor the timing that lets something endure. What is true will open, but it wants to be met with steadiness, not pressure. So just pausing here for a moment. This reading is moving very clearly from truth into revelation into right timing. First, we had Frost Lantern asking you to see what's real. Then Sunrise confirmed that what's been hidden or uncertain is becoming visible now. And with Trillium, the message becomes, yes, something important is opening, but it needs patience, not pressure. So where we are right now is this. You are being shown the truth and you're being asked to move with it wisely. Let's see what the next two cards want to add. Alright, and now our fourth card is Money Flow. And this is where the reading gets very practical. Because after all this truth, revelation, and timing, the cards are now asking, what are you actually feeding with your resources? Not just money, but time, energy, attention, labor, emotional bandwidth. Where is your river going? This card says something needs to move more consciously. For some of you, that means looking honestly at finances, income, spending, debt, support, pricing, what's sustainable and what isn't. For others, it's broader. Are you pouring yourself into something that does not nourish you back? Are you holding too tightly out of fear, or giving so much that your own well runs low? What I really feel here is stewardship. Not panic, not scarcity, not clutch everything. Just guide the current, clean up the exchange, make sure what's leaving you is going somewhere meaningful, and what's coming in is enough to sustain what you're building. And paired with the first three cards, this feels like truth becoming action. Once you see clearly, you can stop funding confusion. You can stop investing in what drains you. You can choose cleaner channels. So Money Flow asks, what needs to be redirected now so your life can support itself more honestly? Alright, and now our fifth and final card is Night of Tomorrow. And this is such a strong closing energy because it takes everything we've seen so far and turns it toward movement. Frost Lantern gave you the truth. Sunrise brought that truth into full view. Trillium reminded you not to force the timing. Money Flow asked you to redirect your resources with intention. And now the Night of Tomorrow says, okay, what are you going to do with what you know? This card is not about waiting for a perfect sign. It's about building the future through the next real step. A vow, a plan, a conversation, a boundary, a decision that makes tomorrow different from today. What I love here is that this doesn't feel reckless. It feels deliberate. This is not rush. This is commit. For some of you, the path forward has already shown itself. And now the cards are saying, stop circling it. Start walking it. There's a real sense here of refusing old endings, refusing the story that says this always goes the same way, that you'll stay stuck, that nothing can change. The Night of Tomorrow says the future is not something you wait to be handed. It's something you begin shaping now. So the question this final card leaves you with is, what one step will make your tomorrow more real? It was a pleasure doing this reading for you. Please subscribe for more readings.